We we have a quorum here, and do we have a movement to accept the July 29th regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second, all right, and in favor, Steve? Peter? The motion is carried. Now, I want to just make given all of your presence here, a comment before we begin the item 3 on the agenda. There is a item here under number 6, old business, which is the discussion of forming a committee to come up with an appropriate solution to paperboard illness. And I would just like to have, assuming many of you are here to speak to that, I would like to defer any discussion at this meeting until item 6 comes up. So barring that, are there any other visitors' comments that we need to consider as part of this meeting? Yes, sir. Could you identify yourself?
Frank Stark, I believe it used to say visitors' comments and petitions, but it says visitors' comments at this point. But a petition has been delivered and certified to the town. It has to do with item number 1 and, well, sub item 1 and item 6 of old business. But it is a petition that has been turned in, and my understanding is valid with valid signatures, requesting a special town meeting that has to do with item 6 sub
Okay,
item
so
1.
I'm just saying, if we could defer to discussion about item 6 until item 6 comes up, including the question of a request for special meeting, please. Your indulgence is required. Any other visitors' comments? Yes, sir.
I'm Paul Hatch Construction. I'm 70 years old and probably 30 of them I've been bitching about the brush and trees growing in the road. Took my loader up the road the other day. When I come back, I got out of my loader, shut the door, and the windshield popped out. When are we gonna do something?
Could I ask Janet to comment on how we are at the road verge clearing project?
I think Jordy will start with our excavator after Labor Day, probably. If there's bad, I mean, everything needs it, I know.
Would you promise me?
Well, unless something happens
It's
to
another
Jordy.
$300 out of my pocket, is all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
no, I mean, did you see we got an excavator
I-
that has a
That's
motor?
what you wanna call it. That's not near big enough for what you gotta.
Well, that's the money that we had. Now, if you wanna donate some more money, get a bigger one?
I'm not doing anything.
No.
I got my own excavator that I have to pay for.
Yeah, I know. What'd you say?
Well, the point is, we acquired a piece of equipment that had the mulching arm that's gonna start doing that. Have we received that yet? I don't even.
Yes.
Okay, so it's on property.
Yes, up at the transfer station.
Okay, so we're gonna train our team to run that, and you expect that to be going in the next couple of weeks.
He thought after Labor Day, when the traffic has lessened, so.
Well, okay, I would suggest from a training perspective, maybe go on less traveled roads and have them practice and get
I think
going.
they're
So,
starting down at Town Beach. You did mention that where it's less traffic to
That'd be
begin
great.
with, but
I mean, I've had a lot of people ask me, some of the selectmen, sorry. All you gotta do is look. When you see a square hole cut into the bushes on the side of the road, that means the trucks are hitting them and they're taking the limbs off.
Yeah.
Your garbage truck, my truck, Paul, every truck over here.
Yeah.
You can see it. And this was something was done. You know,
well,
I'm gonna take your word for it, Steve and Jen.
yeah, but I think, so, we put the money in, we bought the equipment, we're training the people. So I think we've taken corrective action, maybe not as quick as everyone would like it, but we've done so. And
It's not as quick as I'd like.
right, well, no, yeah, that's $300 out of your pocket, we understand, but I think we listened, we put it in the budget.
Yeah.
We approved it, and we're doing it.
so
Thank you.
just, and let's look a month or two now and come back and tell us if we're doing a good job or not.
And I'm just second that, we hear you, and I hope that you will feel within a month that things are, the problem is being addressed. We spend an inordinate amount of time discussing what kind of equipment to buy and whether or not who's gonna operate it and maintain it, and
But you being the newbie, we've been talking about this.
no, I'm not, I am very aware of my own ignorance on this issue. I'm just saying, we have done, I think, a pretty concerted effort to address this problem, and let's see if it works. Any other visitors' comments? Hearing none, let us go to Pete and your very object. Anything we have to add here?
The biggest thing is, I'll need to write an annual report by August 30th. If anybody has any ideas, you can let me know. At the last, advisory board meeting, which was last Thursday, they pointed out that revenue is up 18%, which is good. We will be using Seaward this summer, Seaward Services, that's the crewing agency, that we pay more for. And we've had them on standby. We have not used them so far this year, but now we're gonna have to for an engineer, and that's gonna happen. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but the AV from Vinyl Haven died of a drug overdose, which you may wonder how is that possible since everybody gets drug tested, but there you go. The arms that the tickets for the parking lot in Lincolnville will not be in for the foreseeable future. They just haven't found a agency or something to look after that. So at the moment, everybody's gonna have to go into the office to buy tickets normally.
Sorry, the proposal is to have some automated system.
Yeah, like they do in Rockport, in Rockham. The insurance for all 7 vessels was $55,000. For the Dinsmore, that's the new hybrid vessel that is just going into service, it's $125,000. So that, be that as it may, the integrator for the new boat, which is at the current time being named the Mitchell, which is the Islesboro boat, is different from the Dinsmore, which they had so much trouble with. And really, that's about it.
The Islesboro boat is the one that is currently in design.
Yeah, the new boat is the
Yes.
Mitchell, and at the moment that's being, that's a hybrid. The bids have gone out, the bids have not come back, and that's my report.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Peter or comments? Yes, sir.
Did they say why it's $120,000 for one vessel versus $55,000 for all the rest?
Yeah, it's because it's hybrid power.
So can we expect with an all-electric one, it's gonna be even more than that?
Well, we're not getting an all-electric boat, we're getting a hybrid boat.
Even so, with the hybrid, it might be another $120,000 just for that one when it arrives,
Yeah,
which will increase our costs.
Somebody else? Yes.
I'm just
Yeah.
curious, when they said you said the fare increase of 18%.
no, I said the revenue was up 18%.
Gotcha.
Now they are expecting a fair increase this next year. I'm gonna say approximately 18%. And part of that is certainly gonna be due to the increased insurance costs of the hybrid boat.
Do you suspect at all that, now is that revenue for the entire ferry service or just the Islesboro run?
No, that's the entire ferry service.
Do you suspect that any of that is offset by the fact that residents are now buying block tickets that the town is offsetting? Because I came in and bought way more tickets than I would normally buy, which would drive revenue.
No, I don't have any indication of that. To the ferry service, it doesn't make any difference. Islesboro buys the tickets at the standard rate and then,
Just be interesting to see if it drops, if it starts to tail off, because people are buying block tickets in the summertime at affordable rates.
yeah, not that they suggested.
Just curious.
Any other comments, questions? Sea level rise update. Ms.
Can we just welcome her back the
Yeah.
first time she's physically come back to the room?
I will be exceedingly brief.
Shay, all is forgiven.
No, I'm good in the back here. So the next Sea Level Rise Committee meeting is tomorrow at 4:30. I just wanted to give a brief update and a little bit of a projection of a potential future ask coming down the pike. We have received 90% engineering designs for the Narrows project, which would include raising the road 4 feet, larger revetments at the current stone, to the stoneway to the east and the south, a larger engineered revetment in the middle, and there would not be a revetment up in the kind of sort of the northern section, just raising the road. The cost for that is projected at just over $8 million. We currently have 2 grants pending, a FEMA BRIC grant and the Maine Infrastructure Adaptation Fund grant. If we were successful in receiving both of those, our projections is that the local match that would be required would only be around $110,000. Which we currently have in capital reserves. State and federal funding is very iffy. I think we have done everything we can to put ourselves in good standing, but it's a very competitive landscape. What we're going to be discussing at tomorrow's meeting is what we've learned is that the FEMA BRIC grant that we have submitted requires a town meeting vote to approve the 25% match that grant requires. So the way that the state and federal grants have been written, the large part, $1.9 million of that federal match would be funded through the state grant that is pending. Unfortunately for us, we hear about this federal grant before we hear about the state grant, and in order to be eligible to continue negotiations for the federal grant, they need a town meeting vote to approve the 25%. I'm meeting, Janet, Peter and I are meeting with Kristen Collins, the town attorney, tomorrow, and with a woman from NEMA who has suggested that we need a special town meeting vote for this to try to develop some warrant language, because I know I'm not comfortable coming to the town and saying we need to asking to approve up to $2 million without some guardrails on that, because really we hope that the request is that match be met with the state funds that are already pending. But it doesn't mean that but it doesn't negate the fact that we still may need to request a special town meeting and vote of approval for that. So I anticipate coming back in a couple of weeks with more information that is informed by the meeting tomorrow, and discussion and a formal recommendation from the Sea Level Rise Committee, which I don't have tonight, but I did. I'm happy to bring any questions that you have to the Sea Level Rise Committee meeting tomorrow, and wanted to make you aware that it is likely that we would be requesting a special town meeting to ask for voter approval so that we would be continue to be eligible for those FEMA BRIC funds.
Yes, sir.
So just so I'm clear, 25% of which number you had?
Of like the $8.1 million is what is the FEMA BRIC request.
Okay, but the operant issue here, Steve, and everybody is if, and it's a big if we receive the FEMA grant, we have the special meeting, we approve $2 million of town funds to match this, and then we don't get the state grant, we can abandon the whole thing. And just say, we're gonna go out back to an interim solution to temporarily fix the problem for something like $500,000. So the theoretical issue here is going to the town meeting and asking to approve a commitment to spend $2 million meeting the federal requirement, with the understanding we never expect to need to actually do that, because we are dependent on receiving the state grant, which is 85 or 90% going to diminish that commitment. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a
it's
lot
a
of.
hard thing to
It's a
get
very-
your head around, but that is the reality of the situation.
Paul Victor,
Yes,
I understand all the ifs and buts there. And I just want to urge that you proceed carefully, because it won't be the first time that the state has screwed us out of money
right, absolutely.
in the past.
And fundamentally, it is my understanding as a member of this committee, of this board, and a member of the Sea Level Rise Committee, there is no way we're gonna proceed on the $8 million project unless we get this state grant.
All the commitments, yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody on the email here? No? All right. Moving right along.
Okay, sit down and enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm good,
I
thank
said there's a
you.
desk right up here.
Your viewpoint you're enjoying.
Okay, update on the Island Public Safety Garage.
Okay, so we've had a number of correspondence going out to Northborough. I saw Janet's. I sent an email, on, I think it was Monday. Just telling them that, the September contract date is coming up. Conclusion of it, and, we haven't seen a lot of movements on that, so, I didn't get anything back, Jen. I'm assuming you didn't get anything back on your email from.
No.
Okay, so anyway, we've informed them, and then, but you've also included the attorney that gave us advice, and so and I will again reach out and I'll call Rod tomorrow, and we're gonna bring it to conclusion here, and the key is, we have a contract, we're gonna withhold money, and there's all sorts of ways that we can facilitate this. I'm hoping that we're not in that situation. I think they'll come through, but it's a little up in the air right now, I'm a little concerned. So that's any comments and.
Any questions or comments to Steve or the rest of us? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Merton, thank you. That's hopeful news. But I would emphasize that we keep the little fire underneath the contractor. Cause like you mentioned, here it is coming upon mid-August, and we're gonna slide into September pretty fast. And I don't wanna be moving in or have a dedication in the dead of winter. And I would encourage that we do hold back a little money to make sure the punch list is finalized, and the contractor knows that. Now, I don't know what legal strength the town has. That's where the lawyer probably should help with that. But it's a long time waiting. And we just need to understand his timetable
Yeah,
appreciate it.
the attorney gave us, I mean, we have money that we're gonna hold. There's no breach of contract at this point.
Correct.
So, you know, all we can do is, as you said, keep the fire going, which we both did this week, independently of each other. And I will do so, you know, tomorrow and just, you know, require a response by the end of the work week and see what he says, so.
Thanks.
Is there a particular reason why they're not finishing anything or working? Is it-
No. I mean, 2 weeks ago, they gave us kind of we have the electricians coming in, we have, you know, and but no, he gave us a 2 week type of thing, and we're not seeing that, so.
Yes, sir.
Do they have to get a performance bond or a bond at all for the town for this project?
I remember if we had one.
I don't remember, but we certainly have money that's due, so.
But if they had to pull a performance bond or a bond, then there's other action that the
It
town
was
has without
before-
too much.
Before I came on, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to look and see if we did. It was pretty difficult to, nail down.
Well,
Right.
Recently, or-
Well, in the beginning, you know,
Yeah.
contract
Right.
wise. and-
yeah, it was.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
I have Scott DeGrasse, I have a question on some information that was fed around regarding the well that was drilled. 440 feet,
Oh, at the
and it only,
station.
and it only generated 1 gallon.
Yeah,
That's not much of a well. Is that,
I said stop. I mean, I don't even know what that's gonna cost. I mean, it's not like they could guarantee they could go another 20 feet and strike water. So Mert feels confident.
Well, the trade-off with any well, it's a hit and miss, and you can go deep, you can go shallow. For that building, 1 gallon a minute is doable because nobody's living there. But you've got that depth of 400+ feet of volume. So it's how much recovery, how much you use. Now, the only use will be, and I got a fire system there, a 1,500 gallon tank, and it will be replenished automatically. And I appreciate the well being there. That gives us a year-round, wintertime, fresh water to refill at any given time on the north end. And or it's gonna be designed with a strong enough electric pump that I could probably fill up a truck pretty fast, as much as filling up at a pond. So it's got some benefits to it, the fire system. So that well should do fine, for that. It's a luck in the draw. If you, are a plumber and have property, somehow a plumber gets more gallons than anybody else in the world. But up in that neck of the woods, you go deep. So that's the only thing I know.
Any questions or comments? Mert, are you gonna talk about the public safety renovations?
I can, there was a spell for a while that, Ronnie Grant through, got all the cabinetry in place so they could size and template on the countertop things. They did some more sheetrocking, they've done some, mudding on the sheetrock in the kitchen area. And I think they're back to, implement weather to come back and do some work. It's poking along, at a fairly good rate.
They also-
At Mercy.
Put in was that the evidence room, that drywalled that room, they took a door out, put a new door in.
Go away, yeah, for the extended space for the EOC.
Right, so, EOC, so that's been framed out.
Right, and I've got the request I don't have a date, but it's soon, for the sprinkler company to come to put 3 heads in. They're doing some other work here at the station as well, so that's in the works, to get that done. And it's picking away.
They're going to be doing flooring soon, ripping up that carpet and that vinyl. That's probably the next thing they were waiting just to get approval for money. So I know that was happening.
Yeah, I mean, slow and steady.
Right.
Let's keep going now.
Okay, on to item 4 on the agenda, the planning board. The next meeting is on August 24th. There was a meeting yesterday,
On Monday.
Monday.
Monday night?
Any report on that we should know about?
I guess I'm the planning board representative, Scott
Okay.
Grass, so, no, the only update I would say is that the subcommittee that was formed on the docks, piers, floats, we pushed back, where we have decided that there will not be a moratorium put in place on building docks, piers, floats. We don't see that it's that fundamental an issue, but there is conversation with the harbor master, relative to tightening some of the verbiage in the ordinance, but that's where we're at. We're gonna bring it back up in September and start to work on that. Joan, you probably know about that, the conversations from,
Earl's filled me in a little bit.
so that's kind of where we're at right now.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, town managers report.
Did you want to say something?
I wanted to add some more meetings to that
Right.
list. Sea level rise tomorrow at 4:30. Harbor Committee next Thursday, the 20th, at 6:00. That's it.
Anything else? No?
No, that's it. Thank you.
All righty. Town managers report.
All right. I've given you the June 4th Housing Committee meeting minutes. Under correspondence, I received, and I'm probably sure Steve Miller sent it to all the board, did he? About the controversy or the down at Ryder Cove Road, which was a misunderstanding. So Steve has cleared it up, and the big rocks that went in there are for a stone wall stabilization project for the owners on the north side of the town right away there. The people were upset. They thought the right of way was being blocked.
Which one?
Which person?
Which right of way?
The one that goes down Ryder Cove Road is where it
Like
ends.
straight down?
Cause when they dumped the rocks there and
See.
someone called 911.
I know, I saw that, I saw
Well, you
that,
wasn't down.
no. They just come to the house.
Yeah.
I don't
They
think
just-
call, yeah, they just come.
Instead of calling somebody else, but anyway, so I think that is, clear. I went there today to look at a tree. They were asking about taking down, and I agree that there's a old cedar tree there that's leaning like this. I don't know what's holding it. And the size of the ground that the tree is in, plus part of the roots, is the size of that brown table. I don't know why it hasn't fallen over. But anyway, she's gonna put retaining wall all around this. That's part of her permit. We received from MMA, we generally do, a $1,378 dividend check because of our good performance and loss prevention efforts. Putting out a bid for the request for proposals for winter sand, and they will be back in time for the next selectmen's meetings in August. I've given you the Bar Harbor Capital Reserve sub-account, everything for July. And you've received July revenue and expense reports. The yellow are the revenue and the large one is the expenses. And I did hear, I've been talking with Jake, excuse me, from Performance Paving. And
Yes.
was working on what Dave had gone around with him and measured things, and he's just gotten back to me with prices. Then I kind of look at them and decide for sure what will happen. So he'll be out in a few weeks. This Friday, fine line striping will be up to stripe the roads that I've been waiting for since May.
So I'm sorry, the prices that he's quoting, we're gonna have in 2 weeks?
No, I have the price right now,
I see.
but I don't really, I mean, it's a quote. You know, once he's done it, he's giving us a good deal on the power. It's less than the last time he did it for us.
I see.
And it depends how thick and how much, but that area down at Grundle Point is around $14,000. But I have to do prep work on the road prior.
And that didn't include the guardrail.
No. No,
Repaving at Randall Point.
but
The idea is to pave the shoulder along Ferry Road.
Where everybody parks from the.
Yeah.
Why?
Well-
Put dirt there.
who's gonna charge for parking up there? Up in front of Taylor Watts property.
And basically, stop people from parking, encroaching on his property, which is currently what's the case.
And I also envision putting some rocks on the property right now where people are parking perpendicular, which really upsets him. He's been here,
Oh, really?
yeah, and, he put up signs before in a string, but I think that just doesn't warrant, so. Let's see what we can do about that.
Yes, sir.
I'm not done. Oh, you have a problem with, what's your question though? I still have more to say.
I can let you finish, it's just about the paving and the parking
Oh,
and charging.
okay.
So I haven't been around for it, but isn't that state road the town could pave and then charge the part on
The
the side of
state
state
has
road?
already agreed to allow the town to pave the shoulder and stripe
But to
And
also charge.
charge.
and charge.
That we receive, the state's not gonna receive it. Just, they didn't care, you know, we're not asking them to pay it. I mean,
So why can't we just straighten it up with some dirt, because you can't plow it anyway, because the car's in the way? It's just a convenience for them, or it sounds like a waste of money, there's plenty of other things that need help,
Well,
helping.
the question is, should anybody be parking along that road or
Right.
along the guardrail and not paying anything for it? Where else in the state does that happen? It's not happening in Lincolnville. The state owns the parking lot and they charge for it.
So can't charge unless it's paved.
No, the idea behind the paving was to, stripe it and then issue a permit that would allow people to park there in the same way they're parking at the Grindle Park parking lot.
in striking spots.
Yes, sir.
No, I heard guardrail, where's the guardrail gonna go in?
The guardrail is merely to ensure that people did not encroach on Taylor Watts property.
As a former plower, that's gonna be a pain in the ass for the next guy, so they're not gonna park against that. That
Well,
road,
what's the difference between that and the guardrail that's at opposite line 3?
there's just not enough, there's not gonna be enough room there.
Cause people aren't gonna park close enough to the guardrail if they wanna get out of that door. If there wasn't a guardrail there, they could park close to the edge and still open their door and get out, but if you put something there that stops them from opening their door, they're gonna park off space and get in and out of their door.
The history of this, and I'm not trying to tell, certainly you know more about it. But on the north side of the road, they had the town put rocks in and nobody could park there at all.
I know.
And that was because the adjoining property owner complained that his sight lines from his driveway were being obscured, and the Watts property on the south side. I mean, any of us who owned a piece of property and had random people backing their trucks onto our property, we would object. I mean, I think that's a reasonable position to take. And I think it's up
Park in
to,
the woods like they do, than out in the road.
Yeah.
Former.
Instead of making it perfect.
you're just gonna have more room, cause they're gonna park more down over the bank. Up along that road, it's gonna be hell for the snowplow driver.
And I'm not sold on the guardrail, cause I think that would be a really high price to add to this.
That's what I'm saying.
But,
Right now, they get over that slope just enough, so, and they pack that down by going over the bank. And that's gonna give us an extra foot. And
Well,
you drive a truck off the ferry with a load on it, you've got cars coming this way, and you've got people on that side of the road, there's not that much room now. I've been trying to prevent an accident,
I understand.
I hope so.
No, I do.
I think the other issue here, and I've been kind of we can't. We have an issue with people parking illegally on people's property. And I think his point is accurate. If someone was backing onto my property, I'd be calling Fred every day. That's not right. That is absolutely not right. So maybe we cut out the parking there, which is a disaster idea. The fact is that the individual owns that property has come to us on multiple occasions complaining about people parking on his property, which is a fair complaint. So we took action on this months ago with lots of open discussion on it. And we're attempting to do what we think is best to help that individual, stop the illegal parking, provide parking, get some revenue from it, and not create a bad situation. It's again, change. Not everybody likes that, but the thing I think is the worst is that people are parking on someone's property and we need to stop it. That's my
So
opinion.
now you're gonna make it permanent with pavement.
Well, I don't care if it's paved or not. What I want is to, is not allow, I think the guardrail or post or rocks or something is the critical aspect that people aren't allowed to park on that. And Fred is not allowed, I don't know, cause of, maybe Fred, you can talk about this, cause I haven't quite understood this issue of why we can't ticket people that are parking like that.
I don't have a complaint. In order to, write somebody on a violation, you have to have probable cause. The probable cause to write those violations would be Taylor Watts coming to me saying that I don't want no more vehicles on my property.
Okay,
If he called me and said, I don't want any more vehicles on my property, it's a little bit time consuming because then I have to wait for each guy to come out. I think it would be pretty effective though, because they're going to court on criminal charges. That's criminal trespass. We could also trespass them. We serve documentation to them that the property owner does not want them on their property. And then we serve them with a cease trespass order. There's a bunch of ways to do it.
okay.
Has he never contacted you before?
No,
Well,
I haven't heard from
I
anybody.
talked to him a lot about this.
when I saw, because I used to kind of self-initiate, it kind of really bothered me that they took all the original signs down that said no parking. It really bothered me that they were backing up on this guy's land, but my hands are tied because nobody's ever making a complaint.
All right, well, that
So,
change tomorrow.
so when he talked with you guys, I completely understood what he was trying to say, because I wouldn't want people parking on my property either. And, especially if they're leaking fuel, or if they're throwing trash behind the truck, stuff like that, that's not very good consideration of somebody's property.
Right.
But technically, nobody's ever contacted me about it, and I was,
As Steve said, Fred, we will correct that problem. That wasn't my impression. My impression was he came to the town, he came to me. For now going on 2 years complaining about this.
Well, that's
He
good.
didn't make the right complaint to the right person. You're great.
right? If somebody has somebody on their property and they posted it, I mean, I've done this hunting before, when people are hunting, I've gone, there's a sign right there, go in and charge them with abuse of property. Because they violated the trespass order. And then the caretaker of the property owner comes back to me later and says, I have a slip that they can sit there. I gave them permission to park there. I gave them permission to set trees up, the stands up there. I gave them permission to spike the tree. It doesn't matter whether it's a 500-year-old tree and has a lot of value. I gave them permission to do it. So then I've tied the cord up in this process. I have to have probable cause for a criminal. Now, if the town wanted to do something with the ordinance, I don't think it'll hold much meat. But if Taylor Watts and the town wanted to enter into some kind of an agreement that the town will enforce his property through the ordinance as a complimentary for him letting us park along.
Fred, why don't we just get Taylor on this,
Yeah.
have a discussion with you, decide what to do
Go.
best.
Yeah, I'm just answering the question.
The other issue here, though, I just don't wanna ignore is that the people are paying $425 for a permit to park in Lincolnville. They're paying for permits in the Grindle Point parking lot and along the guardrail and along Ferry Road, 0. And it just seems to me that that's wrong. And it's not a matter of how to generate more revenue, it's just where else in the state of Maine do you get to park for free? Yes,
Just question, if you put all this dirt, you don't put guardrails, and everyone's happy, and you've got it all set, and then you start charging, what stops them from just moving further down Ferry Road? where
and
they
they
don't
might,
pay?
and we have to look into
So I mean,
that.
you just gotta,
There is a wetland in between. It's possible that the parking will concur further to the east on Ferry Road. But it gets to be a pretty long walk from the ferry to your truck.
well, maybe, but you're just pushing it to someone else's property.
No, I
Right, I'll
don't
be
think
calling
that's-
you as soon as that, you'll be getting your call.
I don't know.
Just like reviews. Yeah, it was a-
Sorry,
problem.
yes?
Yeah, I got a question, has the town ever looked into talking to Taylor Watts about purchasing that? piece of
Yes,
property?
and he was
Many times.
asking. I have spent 2 years in negotiations with Taylor Watts about that, but so far, what he was asking for the property, which actually has one building site and maybe a second one if he gets agreement from the other adjoining property owners. The price he was asking was just exorbitant.
Okay.
There's somebody with a hand raised on.
Okay, please.
Ted Pendleton.
Just a quick question. Do we know roughly who's parking in this location most of the time? Is it vendors from the mainland who have no business oriented here that aren't employing anybody here, or are they our people, or?
I defer to any Dave or anybody else who knows better than I do.
Contractors.
Yeah,
But it
they
is
usually
almost
contractors.
entirely contractors on the mainland who cannot get their trucks onto the early ferries. And so they park their truck along Ferry Road. They walk onto the ferry to the tune of over 100 people who get off the 8 o'clock ferry every morning and they walk and pick up their trucks.
So my only comment here is, and I brought this up before, which is, so what if they can't come? You know, I know everyone would step back and say, well, then no one gets their house fixed and their toilet fixed, but at some point it will just keep going. So we had some comments like that where it just keeps creeping, and yes, we collect a few more dollars, but then what do we do with those dollars? People want more. And this is true about a lot of things that are going on the island, is it just keeps increasing. People need more, they want more, they buy more property, more things, they want more services, but there's a point where it's an island. It's not Lincolnville, right? It's not Camden, it's not Augusta, it's an island. And people have to start to deal with the fact that it is. And so I'm just suggesting that maybe you think about, say, well, I'm sorry, you can't do that. Or
Well-
something of that nature. That's all I'm asking, is to look at it on the opposite direction.
Well, whether or not with Fred's assistance, we can get Taylor Rutt to do what he needs to do to make complaints to allow Fred to enforce his property line. The fact of the matter is that the regulating the parking along there, be it regulating his encroachment on Taylor Watts' property or merely paying some amount of money for a permit to park there versus just the Wild West that occurs now. Why not? Who's not benefiting from this? I think it's just not been a situation that has exaggerated over the years, and it's not, I think it's, nobody is complaining about having to pay for parking spaces in Lincolnville that I know about. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I guess I'll leave it at this. It's a bigger picture that I'm trying to address, which is there's a lack of housing, right? Affordable housing, places that homeowners, people can own. And what we're doing is only helping to perpetuate that problem by not letting jobs work here. If we prohibit external people from working here, or at least slow it down, and then the only way you have those jobs is to live here, then you have one mechanism by which you, Peter, want to sort of get more people here. I'm more interested in keeping people who are already here, but anyway, that's my suggestion, is think about it in that bigger picture. Perhaps I'm wrong. I'm happy to be told I'm wrong, but this is one way of doing it. Just saying, no, sorry, can't, no parking. If you live here, that's fine. If not, see you later. Just an idea.
I think most people who are parking there right now are passing the cost, whatever the cost is, on to people whose construction budgets are such that they don't even notice what that is costing. And we're just trying to bring some order to a disorderly situation, which incidentally involves the encroachment on private property. I mean, it wasn't a matter of encouraging or discouraging off-island businesses from working here. It was just that it is uncontrolled at the moment.
Thank you. I'm just suggesting that maybe that's what we do. So.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir. Man. Somebody else in the.
Me? Oh, is there somebody else?
Bill, you gotta
No.
step out or.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Bill. All right, I just had an email this afternoon, from Donna Griswold, who is Lindsay Higginson's. She has the power of attorney from Lindsay Higginson. And Lindsay has a hangar up at the airport that John, she inherited from her husband. And I've been talking with him for a couple of years about this, but Lindsay's gonna donate her airplane hangar to the town. And all that she wants is a receipt, showing a charitable contribution donation. So I was so excited. This
That's
could
great.
be a great thing.
What's a hangar space worth?
Could be a lot to us if we want to put something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think she's asking for a receipt in the amount of 35. So that's probably what it's. So we own the land, but now we would own the hangar.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's something to think about. If you want to accept it, you don't have to accept it. You can keep it. If you decide to sell it, you don't have to sell it. I've already asked Kristen about this, so. That was just something that just came in. Today Tina and I finished interviews on administrative assistant candidates, and now we'll get together Friday and talk about, our thoughts on them and then make a decision. And Earl McKenzie sent me, an email this morning that probably Dylan knows about, that we got the grant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got money for a pier at Seal Harbor.
Yeah, $219,000.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's great news. So now you got the plans and you can go forward, posting it and whatever. And he hopes either this fall, late the fall,
Great.
or next spring. So, that's it for me. Do you have any questions?
Any other, but there's a hand up, no?
No,
There's
that was my
a
cursor.
floating arrow.
Yes.
All right, old business. Can I just say, in anticipation of our discussion here, Janet and I had, a discussion with the town's attorney. In the absence of a charter provision requiring it, it is not clear that the lack of a circulator's oath is a fatal flaw.
Which I have been taken care of.
Okay,
That happened this afternoon.
I would suggest not taking any action on the petition at tonight's meeting to allow it to be validated. If it hasn't yet, and you're saying it has been?
It has.
Okay. Please advise the board that despite the request that a special meeting be called, there is no obligation to do so. The petitioned article, if the petition is found valid, which has been, needs only to be put on the next warrant issued or to a vote within 60 days to set a date for a meeting. If you have no open town meeting planned until the next annual meeting, the select board would be voting to place the petitioned article on the 2027 annual town meeting warrant unless a special meeting is called sooner. Also note that this petition does not reference to section 2522 request an open meeting petition, not a ballot vote. So that was the attorney's comment about this. I would like to say that the select board, in considering the suggestion that we create a committee to come up with an appropriate recommendation, it says solution, but a recommendation on how to address the problem of tick-related illnesses, which I understand from, and Owen is here, can speak to this, I'm sure, is a critical problem on Islesboro. All that was being asked for was a study. No resolution, no decision to be made, just a group of Islesboro residents who would solicit expert opinion on options for addressing this problem. So that's the background here. And I know many of you here would like to speak to this, and I invite your comments, but freedom of speech, freedom of of being able to express an opinion openly is hardly, seems to me, a issue, in my humble opinion, requires a robust response. Why not let them go study this? If we don't like the response or we don't like whatever recommendations they come up with, so be it. Other comments? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say that, there's so far, there's no committee been formed, there's no resolutions been done, nothing's been done. As far as what a deer related thing, you know, nobody said, let's clean all the deer off the island. Nobody said any of this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of rumor going around, but there's no truth in it that I know of. I've been part of this committee. I was part of the last committee, and that was never a solution of taking all the deer off the island. The deer reduction committee's solution was to take deer down to 10 per square mile, which would have taken it down to 140 deer on the island. You know, that was what we did, and it was turned down, so there's that. But all this talk that like, you know, we're gonna clean all the deer off the island is like way, way, way out of whack with any kind of reality we're dealing with right at the moment. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Did you have a comment?
Well, to that comment, the reason for a lot of that concern is because of what the last time involved. I don't have I'm not opposed to a committee per se to study it. What I am concerned about is this. Last time, the committee was front-loaded with people who had a agenda and had already determined in their minds that what we needed to do was knock the deer population down. That was evidenced by their comments, by their actions, and by the conclusion that they reached. We do have some problem with Lyme disease, and most of us have learned to develop ways of fighting that with cleaning up our yards, with using bug spray, using tick tubes, etc. We've got a problem with the disease, and we can't accommodate that. And a committee can bring out other ways of doing that. But as long as they are not people who have already predetermined in their mind what we need to do, they need to be open-minded and intelligent, thoughtful people.
And I personally, and as a select board meeting, I couldn't agree with you more. And I said to Bill, when he came to the committee the last time after the meeting, I said, look, number one, you need to put together an independent committee of Islesboro residents, not of people from elsewhere. We need to study this problem and make a recommendation. And all it is a recommendation at that point. And I was at the meeting. I'm very good friends with Linda Gillies and was at the meeting 13 years ago. I know what happened. It was a disaster. I think it was not a intelligent solution to the problem, and it was alienating. And it was, who the hell are these people coming here and telling us what we could do? And I was not even a full-time resident at the time, and I was alienated about it. So I feel great sympathy for that. But it seemed to me in this discussion with Bill that we had an opportunity to clear the field, have an independent view, whether or not you're right that insecticides and clearing your lawn is an adequate solution from a health point of view. Incidentally, I would just say I have 3 grandchildren who are here for over a month, 3, 6, and 9-year-old, and it is really tough to protect them. Fred.
I appreciate you guys holding space where we can come in and talk about our concerns with this. I was the one that started the fire on Facebook. I don't take back a word that I said. I knew exactly what I was talking about. The minute that the name White Buffalo was brought up was what started this. That's why I went on a tirade on Facebook. I am an activist. I'm not afraid to admit that. I am connected to multiple wildlife support groups. And we're happening to talk about a town that I grew up in now. And my feeling is that if you can take White Buffalo off the table right now, if you.
They've never been mentioned, Fred.
If you mentioned what, I'm not, the proof is in the pudding. But White Buffalo was mentioned 4 times in the meeting. And then when I went back and watched the video, there was more of a discussion on it than I had thought there'd been. White buffalo kill all the animals. They kill, if you're killing deer, if you're killing hogs, their job is to eliminate them. Tell me that I'm wrong. Second part of that is that we don't want that going on Islesboro. There's been a long tradition of hunting on this island, and it goes back through my family, the Porters, the Dodges, the Smalls, anybody that was from this island have always had a tradition of hunting, and I hunted myself. I grew up hunting until I decided to leave it. I like the little furry animals, okay? But I will tell you that the minute White Buffalo, Bill, you hear me? The minute that White Buffalo was mentioned in that discussion, not only is that gonna raise some antennas, that's gonna bring this reaction. My reaction was exactly what I wanted it to be. I'm not lying to you. I'm sitting here looking you in the face, telling you that that is not the option. During COVID, I was very involved in COVID in a lot of different ways for the town. And we started off by coming up with elaborate plans to protect people from COVID. And in the end, what did we learn? In the end, we learned, and Roger Heinen said it every meeting when we had a crisis committee meeting. He says, everybody take care of themselves. Well, that's what we all learned how to do with COVID. We all learned how to take care of ourselves. Then when Lyme was coming back, we all learned how to take care of ourselves. Like Paul said, I realized that every time I go out and weed eat in the yard, or I go work around places I work around, I'm spraying my cuffs, I'm doing all that stuff. I don't complain about the money of what that stuff costs, because that's the price of staying healthy and being able to enjoy the things that I've enjoyed since 1963. This tradition of hunting goes way back. I've enforced the laws for hunting. I have worked with the hunters on their problems. I think it's a good system what we have. I do challenge, and there's two questions I have tonight. I challenge you that this winter, when the snow hits the ground, that you hire an independent surveyor to come in with drone technology and fly the island. It's gonna take a while, but we did all this before the hard way, and get the deer count. I don't know about anybody here. I haven't talked to anybody other than on Facebook while I was absolutely raising chaos. And I did raise chaos because I knew what I was talking about. But if you're gonna assassinate all of these deer, Janet,
That's never was the plan. White buffalo was mentioned, but.
I'm telling you what I'm reacting
past
to.
history.
I'm just telling you what I reacted to because I started this. History, yeah, that's
Right.
exactly right. We're worried about history repeating itself. We have concerns about that. And another thing that I have concerns about, because Paul had mentioned this before, we got pretty burned in the first time. People were more worried, the impression that we all got is we was more worried about shrubs than we really was worried about Lyme.
Explain that. I don't,
Deer eat shrubs.
Plants.
oh,
That was part of the equation, and I think I'm not positive, but we might have elaborated to that in some of the discussions about that. So what I'm getting at is the term well-vetted committee was brought up. Now, I do have a question. Can somebody tell me what a well-vetted committee looks like? And who would be picked to be on that well-vetted committee? Because I think you have probably 300 people that are well-vetted through time and space on this island that know the deer population and know what's going on. But you need to do a new deer count, because there is no 50 to 55 deer on this island per square mile, and I can tell you that. You might find 50 to 55 in locations, like around the pits and stuff, because there's not a lot of activity. But you're not gonna find that per square mile. I guarantee it.
All right, so that's really good information to share with.
But you did bring up white buffalo, and that was the
I
reaction,
don't-
so you gotta
I don't-
understand
I don't
that when you
remember.
talk
I
about
don't
something,
remember.
it raises a
Yeah,
reaction.
it was something in the past, remembering in that
Ro-
meeting.
What happened, I already acknowledged that it was really very poorly.
But we're not taking white buffalo off the table. Because
Why?
I just asked you a minute ago if you would be willing to take white buffalo or any company with the same mission off the table and off the table for an extermination of all the deer.
may I comment?
Please.
I didn't hear that.
So,
either. Good. Sorry.
we were asked to have this discussion last time, brought up and put on the agenda, which we did. And the communication and all, it's all documented. There was no one, let me go back. We're looking for, to set up a committee to look at this. It's not, I don't think it's select board's position at this point to determine who's on the committee, the topics for discussion, an agenda, any of that. It's just our responsibility, I think, to the community, and you guys tell us that my thinking's wrong, is do we want to approve a committee to look at this and take that forward and start, the process all over again, or not. It's not any part of it, White Buffalo. It's not, that's one component of what the committee should be looking at.
But people don't want White Buffalo.
Well, that's probably absolutely true, but
It is true.
okay, but Fred, that's part of the committee, research, which will take months to do. It's not, we're not saying do White Buffalo.
So what you're saying is you will not choose the people that will be on that committee?
I went to Bill and after the meeting and I said, find preferably some hunters, some other people to put on this committee and have an objective study of how to reduce the incidence of Lyme disease or other tick-related diseases on Islesboro, period.
Because I don't have a problem, and I don't want to minimize the effects of Lyme. I've had it twice myself. My wife's had anaplasmosis, I think that's what you call it, and Lyme also. We've been affected by it, so it's not like we're strangers to this.
Right.
But what I will tell you is that if you can tell me that you will pick options other than White Buffalo, then I will leave right now and I'll go on Facebook and say, this is the greatest board of select people that I've ever seen. I'll be the first, I started it, I'll finish.
Show me where to sign, okay?
This is my brief for this, and this will probably be the only chance that I'll have to say anything. But one of the things that's most important to me is how we're gonna vet that committee.
Yeah.
There's got to be a game plan for vetting the committee. And when we make the statement, a well-vetted committee, because we don't have faith in this system, what is a well-vetted committee look like? What are we looking for a well-vetted committee?
Okay, yes, sir. Amen.
Okay, I'm Doug Weldon. When I retired, the thing I did not say to myself is I want to spend a lot of time on an extremely divisive issue. And I'm not about to do that here. I just came tonight, actually to underscore some of what Fred's saying. I see other members of the committee I was on for this. I was on the tick-borne disease committee at the time, and the other committee whose name cannot be mentioned. I was on that one. And as we went through this, it occurred to me, this has to be done with sensitivity and getting people involved and not have some bomb dropped in the middle of it, which is exactly what happened. Not by the committee. It just happened. And I think we all know what we're talking about here. When it came to the vote we had on the sharpshooters who can't be mentioned, that went down, I think it was about 140, maybe 130 to 80. It was not approved. Not. And that meant there were over 200 people at that meeting, which was an extraordinary turnout at the time, 13 years ago for the town.
Right.
And during the course of all of that leading up to it, my hair was on fire because I just thought, like we've all learned, it was not a good process. What we've got to be sure of is whatever we do and whatever you all say here, whatever the select board does, and whatever any committee does, is that it's done carefully. You can't, I don't think, drop a big bomb in front of this issue again. I think it took several years, actually, for us to heal from that. And it went, but it's just my opinion, but what happened was people didn't talk about it. That's how we healed it, and time passed. And even maybe COVID helped that because we all had to do something together to get that away. So now we've got to be careful that we don't reopen this issue again willy-nilly, and that we do it carefully if we're going to do it at all.
Yes, sir.
That's my opinion.
So
Thank you.
you mentioned about a petition or whatever. I'm the one who brought the petition forward because I was to help get signatures. From what you read, from what I've read, seems almost close to the same thing. I want to get some clarification before I have other things I want to discuss on this, but are you telling me that the petition that has been validated, brought forward with enough signatures to the town that sits before you with the main laws and everything that the town has for ordinance and so forth, does not require the town select board to call a special town meeting within 60 days unless there's an already scheduled meeting. You're telling me that with that petition, the town has the right to wait to the next scheduled town meeting? Because as I read it, it can wait to the next one or 60 days, whichever one's sooner.
Travis, do you have any?
I only have reference from what Chris.
That was the law.
That's, and if so, while we're discussing that, in 2014, concerned citizens of Islesboro that went by CCI brought forward a petition to the town and to the select board with signatures on it that then triggered a special town meeting for us to be told to take our money now or never ask for it again.
That was a bomb.
It's a bomb, but you know what? Who picked the keynote speaker?
Not me.
Not the people of Islesboro.
So I have something, the petitioned article, if the petition is found valid, needs only to be put on the next warrant issued, or to vote within 60 days to set a date for a meeting.
So
Does
it doesn't sound like you guys get to wait till the next town meeting. Well, my understanding was it had to be within 60 days or the next special meeting or town meeting, if it was within those 60 days have gone close to it. But what I'm asking is if the concerned citizens of Islesboro turned in a petition in 2014 and got a special town meeting to have this vote, why is not the same thing being afforded? And part of the reason why this petition was brought forward and made is because even on the old town's website, there was 4 tick committees. Regardless what they call it, tick committee, deer reduction committee, tick-borne illness committee. When that didn't work, we made a new committee. There's 4. There's been 4 committees. They've all been moved inactive. They have studied this tick issue for over 8 years, went round and round. The people voted, the people decided, they said no. I feel it's prudent and right of the town to hold a special town meeting and let the people decide whether or not they want to go down this avenue again. It's 4 times we've done it. Why are we gonna do it a 5th time without getting the town to vote whether or not to go for a 5th?
I don't think we're not saying have a town meeting, are we?
No, I'm just,
So
well,
we're gonna have a meeting?
I mean,
I think we have to. You brought this
Well,
forward.
within
I did,
60
but
days.
I mean, the people brought this forward. I'm just trying to clarify sorry, I'm in the new stage where I like need glasses, but I don't have them yet.
no, it's fine. It just sounded much like, it sounded like that you guys didn't have to do anything to the next one and we kind of
Well,
moved
till the
on to
next-
like, let's talk about it.
Unless we have a special, and you will be having a special meeting probably this fall. There's other issues.
Yeah, and so we'll do them
Put them together.
together.
And I just wanna say a well-vetted committee that's written as here, and maybe it's the wrong words, and maybe it needs to be reworded. Looks like it completely goes against the town's ordinance of saying it has to be a well-balanced committee members, that when a committee has to be well-balanced.
For use of the term that was used by the individual who brought the idea to us. Those are exact words that was not the select board's words.
I understand that.
Okay, so let me just, so we have requirements, it sounds like, for the sea level rise to have a special meeting. So it looks like there are several topics that need to come together to have the town give the select board direction on what they want to do. So, it sounds to me like we need to have a discussion on this.
Yeah.
And then vote on having a meeting, and I don't think anybody's. It sounds, so let me ask you a question. What do you want to have, what is the purpose of your petition here? Bottom line, what do you want to have occur here? What do the people who sign this want?
They want it to be voted on by town members whether or not to go down this road again.
Okay,
And honestly, my side would be is that if we go down to a 5th tick committee. That I personally would like to see that it is voted positions in. not just appointed positions in, because we have done this so many times, and when it didn't go in a direction that was wanted, it's my opinion, but when it didn't go in a direction that was wanted, that went inactive, and we made a new committee that was slightly different. And then we made another one slightly different, and I remember sitting at a meeting with a select board chair who said they would like to change the name of the committee because they feel like it moves more in the direction of what they should be focusing on. And then we went to another, select board meeting months or 6 months later, then they're changing their mission as to what it is.
But let's not apply with those past things, but I understand, I'm listening to it. So what your point is, that whether we have a committee to look at this again, you want the town to vote on it.
To vote whether or not we go down that road.
Right, just to go, there's not a road. It's we're gonna vote to have a committee developed and we can determine how that is or not, correct?
Yes, but it needs this, I want to state the purpose of the committee. And the reason why I say that is because like we had, the most recent is the Islesboro Economic Stability Committee came, right? And they said, we don't have any bylaws, we don't have this, but just vote it and it'll be appointed by the select board. And when someone said, well, you're gonna buy real estate, Roger Heinen said, they said, we have no interest in buying real estate. Everybody passed, the Islesboro Economic Stability Committee was created, but you for or against, it doesn't matter. And the very first purchase they made was real estate. So there has been a history of, well, let's just do this, and then it's not quite what it was presented as. So I think it needs to be very clear as to what the mission is. And very clear, like, and how that direction is, and it's voted on by the people to whether or not we do this.
So the only thing I would, and I know Fred, you want it, but I'm just trying to, want to be real precise on this. So when we bring something, well, sounds like we're gonna have a special, let's assume we're having a special meeting. Defining the committee sounds like it's critical as to, what its purpose is and, and who's gonna be on it and how that's selected. And I'm trying to figure out who is capable of writing that document in a draft form so people could look at it at another meeting. So we get a general consensus of approval.
I got something on it. I don't think you can do that personally. I think the town has a right to form a committee. It's written right into your, bylaws or whatever. It says the town may form a committee and blah, blah, blah. What you're trying to do is say, no, you can't form a committee without our approval. And that's totally changing the way this whole thing is set up. I mean, if you want to do that, then that's a whole different issue. But those guys can, if they want to form a committee, they can, as far as the bylaws of the town go, they can form a
As
committee.
far as I'm concerned, Bill, if you wanna form your own committee.
Fabulous.
Yes, Fred.
All right, so when I first read the minutes, and then Carrie put the video up online, which was really good, because then we got to be in the meeting. And the meeting started off by somebody coming in and bringing this idea to the board. And then the statement was made, I'm not gonna quote it, because I'm 63, I'm failing in my memory and stuff, but the statement was made around about that, let's not call it this committee again. Let's call it another name. Because that name brings bad juju with it. Frank brought that up a minute ago in his overview of what has happened. It's just a continuation of what got this reaction.
Yep, it says if taking it to town meeting, phrase it as, quote, to do what's necessary to reduce Lyme on the island, unquote. Don't make it about deer or specific solution, leave it open-ended. And that's in the minutes that were just approved from the last meeting.
So
and it was
what's-
proposed by Bill.
What is your complaint about that?
Yes.
It's not Paul.
So
That was my opinion,
Yeah.
which I brought to the board. That's not the board, that's not
I
the
don't
board.
even
that's
know
me.
when
Well, that's Fred.
at that meeting, White Buffalo was mentioned, but it certainly.
It was talked about like in what happened.
I know.
That's what draw the reaction.
Fred,
I understand, I'm
I'm
just telling you
sorry.
what the reaction was.
my discussion with Bill at the meeting and subsequent to the meeting was consider everything. Don't limit yourself to this. We have all these concerns. We should listen to the concerns. And nobody was promoting any solution.
What,
Wait, there've been people with their hands
I'm
raised
sorry, I didn't
online
see that.
for a
Yeah.
long time, and I
Okay,
think they
please.
should go next. So it would
Right.
be Janice first and then
I have
Amy.
difficulty, maybe it's my eyesight seeing the raised hands. But Janice, do you want to make some comment?
Yes, hi, this is Janice Petzel. Sorry, my camera's really blurry. I think before we vote on anything, we have to know what the problem is. And I agree completely with Fred that getting a decent census of the deer population on the island makes complete sense. We can't vote on something if we don't have the right information. And I think if you do form a committee, there ought to be some way to get a wildlife biologist or somebody with experience at assessing the science of infectious diseases that are carried by ticks, because it's a complicated life cycle. It's mice and small rodents and birds and deer. It's not just deer. But if we do have an overpopulation of deer, it's not good for the deer. It's not good for the understory of our forest, which is not good for the aquifer. It's not good for fire risk. So it's not just deer and it's not just Lyme disease. It's a whole ecosystem here that has gotten out of balance. And we need to have people with that kind of expertise to give us decent guidance before we vote on anything, in my opinion.
Thank you. It was my understanding that the committee was going to seek exactly that kind of
That's the information we were.
expert advice. But there's somebody I can't read the
It's
name of.
Amy.
Amy? Go ahead, Amy.
You're mute.
Yep, no, I think I got it. Thank you. So, I would like, as a new resident, that we put together a committee that has a diverse set of perspectives. So the science is important, but so is personal experience. And for me, as somebody who loves Quaker principles, having a group of people who disagree at the same table allows us to have a conversation that builds a consensus that the community could actually move forward on something, which does not sound, I was not here, does not sound like what we might have done in the past. And I love the idea of putting together a committee that builds, that intuitively has the trust of the community so that there are diverse perspectives present. And those diverse perspectives sit at a table and have a conversation, sometimes which is very animated. But we talk about it, we try to persuade each other, we listen to each other, and we bring, not we, but that a proposal is brought before the town, before the select board, that represents that diverse set of science, feeling, opinion, perspective. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Next person, I can't see that.
That's
That
it
was
for
you.
on Zoom, yeah.
Okay. Fred,
we have a trust issue. That's what we have. We've had this trust issue for a long time. I think you'll find that no matter where you go in the country, and we see it every day, there's a trust issue. This is where our trust issue becomes very open. I will tell you that I did not trust the process last time. I did not trust the way the process was done last time. Nobody ever asked us what we thought. They had a committee. I don't know who was on the committee. I can't remember. And I'm not putting down the committee. I'm just saying the process. you lost the trust of the community. So in a way, we're not here tonight to work and negotiate a committee that doesn't include deer. We don't trust to have a committee. That's the plainest I can put it. Listen, I'm not gonna take a bunch more of your time because I said a lot already, but there's a trust issue here. And when there's a trust issue, you need to get the trust back. And that's what needs to happen, because we don't trust the process.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I just asked, is there, I mean, does anybody have any supporting evidence that after all the years and the committees the town has had and the time it's spent and the money it's spent and the hours everyone poured into this, that there's much different science or anything else out there that we haven't already heard, considered? I mean, I don't know, and I'm not saying that there isn't, I don't know, and maybe there is. But if we have the same science, same information, same everything, and we have the same island with the same setup, I feel like we already have the answers that committees before have already come up with. So if there isn't more new information out there, it's kind of hard to say, like, what are we doing? Are we rehashing what we've already done?
Okay, thank you.
So-
Ruth,
Well, let me just,
Mr.
and then look, and then let's try to wrap this up a
Yes.
little and we can go, because we have a petition here. You know, I don't think anyone, Dylan, I don't think we're sponsoring the committee idea. It was brought to us. So there's appears there's a requirement to have a meeting to see if we're allowed to have, or if you want to have a committee formed. I think it's important that we get our attorney to look at the bylaws to see if that's required.
We should do that.
Because if, in fact, a committee is allowed to be created independently like that, then that's a different situation. We'll have to address it at the next meeting. So I think we should, the sequence here, Janet, we need to have the attorney look at that thing. We'll take this in the interim, we'll look at this and start talking about when it's appropriate to have a meeting.
Right. I think-
And we will bring the Narrows issue and any other, committee, discussions we need to have.
Right.
Um,
There are two other people who
Yeah,
would like to speak.
and then
but
let the
I
last
would
few
just
and then-
like to focus our attention in the future on the comments that Fred and others have made. What constitutes a well-vetted committee? What does that mean?
What does it look like?
What does it look like? And I said, my instructions to Bill after this meeting was exactly that. Come up with
I don't
a
know.
committee of people who represent a diversity of opinions and a diversity of perspectives. And to me, if there's a process by which we can involve more people in constructing such a committee, great. First of all, I was pessimistic given my own experience with what has happened in the past, which is extremely similar to yours. And maybe there isn't any new science here, maybe there's no new solutions that do respect a diversity of opinions about this. I think we have as I understand it from Owen and from Chris at the Health Center, a growing incidence of tick-related diseases on the island. It's not a static situation, but I think this idea of this committee was merely to revisit the science and see if there are any solutions that might be acceptable to a much broader audience here, without any implication, promise that anything was going to be enacted without that broad support.
Because it seemed like there's an uptick in tick-borne illness, I think.
Yeah.
is what was brought to us. And now you guys are bringing more stuff and we're considering that too. But
Can we have the data? Can we have a copy of the data?
as soon as we get the committee together and get the data.
I think one of their
Going up
charges,
to people visiting.
I think
I'm
one of the
just-
charges is to
I'm
get
just
to
trying to
that.
give context for what happens here is people bring something and it like is a wave that crashes and then it goes back out to everybody. And then everybody comes and I appreciate you all coming, but I think we really had genuine good intent with what we were bringing up and not making any decisions at this time. And now we have, now we'll have a meeting and get more people's opinions about it.
But you could have made a decision at this meeting by it being on the agenda to form or not form a committee. So that's why the reaction comes as the reaction comes, because if action isn't taken or someone doesn't come and say that there's an issue, the select board could, in fact, at this meeting say, yep, we're gonna do that committee because you know what, it was on the agenda, people knew about it, and now we're gonna act on it.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
why you get a strong, swift response on.
I
people passionate about.
appreciate the responses that we get.
Jean?
Actually,
Sorry.
Ruth Ann was first,
Okay,
please.
sorry, thanks.
Oh, I have excuse me, just two very quick practical questions because I'm very new to the island and don't quite understand how these committees work yet. I'm curious, firstly, if there is a way in place for individuals appointed to a committee to be elected by people or whether they're usually appointed by the select people. And secondly, I'm curious if there is a committee formed and recommendations are brought to the select board, if those recommendations will be voted on by islanders or will be determined by the select board. Those are my two questions just about how all this works. I think a committee in general is a great idea.
Hey, Jean?
She's asking us a question.
Okay, sorry.
No,
I got the question. I don't see,
you got an answer?
I think that a study, agreement to create a committee to study a problem is hardly a controversial, should be a controversial issue. I think the composition of the committee is certainly based on the comments we've had here. We need to make sure that the composition of such a committee is acceptable to a broad. But frankly, as I said, anybody can form a committee and go study whatever they want to. That doesn't mean that the select board has to approve their finding or even accept their finding. But
Can I have a question. I've had my hand raised.
yes, please.
This is Jeannie Porter. I've heard you reference a few times during this meeting that you're going to contact the town attorney for questions that you need answered. So my really strong question to you all is a select board, which the town, I don't know how all of these politics work, which is why I put it in my husband's hands and stuff. And I spent the whole day getting these signatures. But my question is, you always refer to the town attorney. Now, what rights do the town people have for a town attorney? Do we have access to a town attorney so that we as a community can ask these legal questions without being billed? I mean, you have a town attorney for your select board and for all your meetings and everything you do for the things that you govern in your select board, but what about a town attorney so that we can ask these legal questions ourselves? Who's going to answer these legal questions? Because like Fred said, it's a matter of trust. I don't trust any one of you in your position because I've lived here 23 years and I've seen decisions made without the town's notification, and things have been formed and people are not aware of or advised of what is on your agenda. And so that's why there's no trust. And for me to spend time doing this for an entire day, because I don't get into politics, because I don't trust one politician, and for rightly so. But who's our town attorney? Who do we get to speak with for legal matters?
Same attorney. And, I take exception, significantly to those comments. we're serving at, based on you voted for us. We represent the town. We're not those guys, we're us. You know, and to say that you don't trust us, maybe you should attend more meetings and be more involved then. You know, the attorney, I specifically asked about the legal requirement. Do we have to have a vote on this, or can someone form a committee? That's a simple, but we have to have somebody do the research. I have a job. I can't do that research. We have an attorney that allows us to, we pay them to do that research. If you have a question about the legality, send it to the Janet, and we'll have, you know, we'll have that question submitted. But to say that you don't, you know, I'm just gonna stop there.
So does that mean that the town will make it fully open for viewing for all folks to be able to read the email correspondence between the town and the town attorney, and the town will hide behind
I
privilege?
just read it to you.
I understand that, but you're gonna go back with some other questions and ask that. I'm just asking, you think it's
In
open?
public, to whatever she says.
Well, and you can do a FOIA, every email, any.
Frank knows how to do them.
Yeah, so
Yes,
every,
but I have also received, it's attorney-client privilege on the
Some
town's
things are.
attorney to the town attorney and their questions. So I'm just asking if the select board and the town will make these emails about this subject openly public without everyone having to fill out a FOIA request.
I'm done.
There's
That's
another
Bill
hand
Jeannie.
up there.
He's done.
Okay.
Oh, is there another one?
No.
I had a
Jeannie-
question a minute ago over here.
Okay, sorry, Dave, I missed your.
It's okay. I don't like speaking out to.
Chocolate.
You say there's a big influx of Lyme disease on the island, and Lyme's everywhere. I mean, it's even up in Ashland County now, Ashland town. But could it be that we got a lot more people here now too? That would make a big difference on the Lyme count, I would think.
Probably. I would just like to say, one of the charges for some committee, some group of people would be to try and get, as Fred was saying, an independent evaluation of how big a problem this is. My understanding of talking to people in the health center, and statistically, the incidence of Lyme tick-related disease, which is not just Lyme disease, but I think 4 or 5 or more other diseases, is growing. But it's anecdotal at this point. You're right.
But
We
the
need
amount
to-
of people-
We need to verify
The
that.
amount of people coming here every day on that first boat, the Quicksilvers, they're bringing ticks over, I'm sure. Some of them got dogs.
I think we ought to shoot all of them before we. I didn't say that. All right. Any other discussion on this subject?
Have we, I think we've
Exhausted, yeah.
exhausted this.
Okay, I really would encourage those of you who are concerned about the vetting of the potential committee. Let us have more of a dialogue of how to constitute independent research on the actual state of affairs. Yes, sir.
In kind of in closing, I meant what I said earlier, is this is a trust issue. And as the board members today, you need to understand that you're gonna inherit some of those issues sometimes. I know that it didn't feel good hearing it, because I hear stuff about me all the time that I don't like. But you have to take what you're told, and you have to understand that as good politicians in our community, as you said, we're part of you, that you're gonna listen to what we say, and you're gonna put some thought into it. I always loved Arch on the
Absolutely.
board. I always
Absolutely.
loved Arch on the board. He'd always sit back in the seat and he'd go like this, and he'd spread his head around, and he'd come up with these
You have-
beautiful ideas because he thought about it.
We have a commitment to do exactly that. I
Because
don't know what more can be said here.
we're the voters.
I
We
felt.
depend on you.
Right, and I'm a voter too, and I'm committed to trying to find a intelligent, rational multifaceted solution to these problems, if there is one out there, which there may not be, but just to Frank's point, saying, well, we tried this 3 times and it didn't work, so let's just forget about it and move on, I think is not an appropriate solution. Let's try and do it better.
Right.
My opinion. All right, thank you all. On to the request for from the groundwater protection issue. I did discuss this matter with Pam Larson, who's the chairman of Thanksville, of the groundwater protection committee, and she recommended I speak to Rod Pendleton, who is a very impressive. I had his resume. I was going to distribute here. Arguably an expert in hydrology, talk us about groundwater issues now and in the future on Islesboro and consumption, and whether or not the ordinances that we have now limiting the amount of water people can use, or where they can use it, or what they can use it for. And he is leaving to go to Alaska for a month or a couple of weeks. And so I want to put him on the agenda in September and let him come and speak to the question of how critical are groundwater issues on Islesboro and what we should be considering, as well as limiting ordinances if we don't have the right ones in place. And that seemed to be acceptable to Pam, and it seemed like the discussion we had at the last meeting was pretty anecdotal, and I think we need expert advice. So that was my proposal of what to do with this request from the Groundwater Protection Committee. And I'd love to hear anybody's comments, if anybody has anything they'd like to add.
Pam's on.
Yes, Pam.
Well, no, there's Ted has his hand raised.
Ted.
Oh, yeah, this is good. Don't trust my brother. No, I'm kidding. Just so everyone knows, it's not aware, a big study was done by his firm, I don't know how many years ago now, 10 years, 8 years, whatever it was. And he gave a synopsis of that a few years ago to the town in some fashion. So somewhere out there, there's already, it's sort of like one of these things we talk about with the tick stuff. There's a lot of data out there. So there is, just so people are aware, a lot of this has been done. Whatever you want to do to get them into update it or whatever. But we've already signed the $500 for him, I think, into the budget for the year. So we'll hear from him.
Right. Anybody else have any comments or? Yes.
I would just say that the select board should get out in front of this, just like you suggested right now, because you're gonna end up in the same situation that you just had with the tick situation. It's gonna spiral out of control because there's rumors everywhere. You know, the article that was in the paper, Babe, that you contributed to, that Dan wrote up. I mean,
you blame me.
I'm not blaming you. I'm saying it was a great article, but it was very enlightening because because it set to rest a number of rumors that I've heard that were just, I mean, you can't believe what you hear.
But why don't we just send the report out that we had done already? The town paid for it, so why not just send that to people? At least let them know where to download it, because it's all in there.
Realized there was a report.
What was the name of his company, or the company that did it?
It changed 4 times in the last 5 years. I'll let you know. I think I have a copy of
When
it.
I talked to your brother, he didn't mention that, but great.
But
he just wanted the $500.
I thought he was gonna do it for free.
But even in the planning board meeting, there was discussion about groundwater.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether we need to have, you know, the CEO and the planning board approving wells being drilled. I mean, it's just bubbling up. Well, no pun intended.
Oh, that's
no pun intended.
well done.
Yeah. But they said there was a report study done in 1999, which is the aquifer chart on the wall right there. But that's it's a long time ago, 27 years ago. So I think if there's a study that's done more recently, absolutely get it out for the public to study.
I understand that.
No, they haven't. Has it gotten lower? I mean, what's the capacity? No one, it's just all talk. And until we really have the scientific data, we're all just guessing.
Okay.
Same thing with the ticks.
They don't Facebook would be my recommendation.
Don't read Facebook. Right?
All right,
Can I make a
Uh,
comment
I-
really quick?
I understand
Hi.
that, Dick, that it was an emotional issue. Yes, sir, ma'am.
Ma'am, who?
That's Maddie.
Oh, Danny Bruno.
Hi, guys. My name is Maddie Bruno. If you don't know me, I am on the Groundwater Protection Committee. And I recently bought a house out on Islesboro, but I am also a licensed hydrogeologist. Ted was my boss. And we are looking at this, but I just want to put it out there that like the more modern data we can collect, the better that we can tackle this. And so, there may be needs like that in the future. And I hope that people consider that as we move forward, if this is something that, similar to the ticks that we've been talking about, like the more that we understand what's actually going on, the better solutions we can have as we move forward. So just wanted to throw it out there.
Thanks, Maddie. Are you aware of that report? Do you know anything about that?
I've looked, sorry, my dog is barking. I have seen one from the late 90s, not many years after I was born. So I don't know if there's a more recent one that we are aware
No,
of.
that's probably it. That's probably it, but I'll look.
So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay.
Catch it up a little bit. But,
Thank you. Well, definitely.
That's good to know. She,
Yeah.
Aqua Gal.
Yes, I'll definitely pursue the question of this previous study.
that being said, ask Rod, not me. He's definitely knows more. So
Yes, Pam. Go ahead, Pam.
Hi. Yeah, Maddie, I think you're right. I think that was the last one that was done, 1999. There was another one done in, I have it here. The Gerber report was 95. And then there was another one done by Robinson, I think was the name of the firm or the lead on that. That was done, I think, in 99. But I don't think there's been anything more recent than that. And Ted, your brother did do a talk out here for IIT maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So I don't know, maybe that's also what he was referring to.
Yeah, could be. It could be, but the point is that there was a result that showed that it's not so dire. And yes, I know we need modern data, but groundwater doesn't change that much. It's not like the fissures in our island have changed all that much. Maybe they have, but I don't think so. But in any event, let's let the science talk to it. We have some existing science, share it with people so they don't start to freak out, as we're saying here, and just let's get over it to the science and be done with it.
I think that's a good idea. I'd also like to say that Rod will be speaking to the whole community. He's agreed to come and talk to the whole community at the end of September. We don't have a date yet, but keep your eyes peeled for that date.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make a quick thought. When we had COVID, we created the crisis committee, and in that process, right from the beginning, I said the town ought to have a public information officer, somebody that vets the information, puts it in a form that doesn't over-explain, under-explain, it deals with the facts and findings, and releases the information at the proper time. I really, I would never want to have your load that you have with all this stuff going on, but I am a public information officer. Do I want to do it? No, because I'm not trained in hydrology and all that stuff. But the town really ought to have a policy, a guideline on how you release information, because we do in public safety. And vet the information before it's released by having your public information officer, and then release the information so it's it's informational. It's not putting too much information out there. Poor Mert, he got caught up in the wrong end of public information. And he said to me, I said, all I was doing was trying to do this and because these are televised and all these meetings go like that, I really think the town ought to take somebody from its staff and make them a public information officer and know the freedom of access and know all these things so that you can carefully put information out and know when to release it so it's perfect timing.
That might not change the results like as Merton is doing. It's not gonna change what people are.
But if you have a policy that says that any information to be released that's law enforcement, they'll come to see me. To have a policy that if it's something from the health center, because they have protected information, that you will refer them to whoever their information officer is. Just to make sure that, because this, with the social media age now, it's gonna happen more and more, and you see it every day. Everybody's grabbing every little article they can. And you can't even believe half the stuff you read anymore. So I mean, as a government entity, and they train us this through FEMA, we have public information officers, and I just think it would be good for the town to delegate one like
Good
that.
idea.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Couple of things to let everybody be aware of. Every year, the island and as well as many communities in Maine, we go through this cycle of it's dry at different points. And everybody's got an opinion on it. I agree. We need hydrologists to tell us what's underneath us, but we're always gonna be dry on top. Our rain patterns are sporadic. Somewhere in the state, it gets enough rain that the state Forest Service allows burning at different class rates. And you can see that on their website. That's what I go by. I have to be, as fire chief, protection of the town, but half a weather person just to do these predictions, when allow burning and not burning. I'm not getting good at it, the predicted weather, but I do what I think is the right thing to do. To my knowledge, nobody's indicated to me that any wells on Albro have gone dry.
And Rod confirmed that when I talked to him 2 days ago.
So there's been nobody flat out of water. There's other reasons why you might be flat out of water. By using too much, you're watering your lawn all day long, which is stupid. You shouldn't do it. That's why my little statement earlier this summer, be careful with the burns because it's dry. And if you have to water your lawn, do it early in the morning or late in the afternoon as a recommendation. Fire trucks are dirty because we don't dare to wash them. Because we might be looked at as wasting water.
Yeah.
So if you show up and it's a little dusty, you're gonna have to put up with it.
Well, I don't know. You show up with a dirty fire engine and I'm gonna be.
So, it's gonna be touch and go. The weather pattern that we don't catch up. If you recall, last winter, we had very little rain, but we had a lot of snow that did not produce a lot of water.
Yeah.
Each year with the Forest Service, we do a group meeting, and they always tell us, we're behind the 8 ball, be prepared for a dry, late spring and summer. This is not new, it's a problem all over the state. So do the best we can, and maybe we'll get through this summer.
Thank you. Okay. The new business is the M&M junkyard renewal.
Clifford rule, and you have to enter a public hearing for this.
Okay. We enter a public hearing.
You do a vote for that.
Oh, sorry. Can we enter a public hearing? Then I have a motion.
Motion to enter a public hearing.
Second.
In favor? Aye. Aye. All right. Now what do we need to do?
You all have a copy of this application. You
Yeah.
have a folder.
Yep.
I don't see Clifford or, Laura.
Thanks, Scott.
It's a renewal and you have in that folder, the front page is, Tom Michaud's as CEO, his report, for the, renewal. And we did receive our copy of she had to send to all butters a copy of that. I put this on the agenda quickly because this is the date that Dave had given her, so she had sent all notices out for this date. I thought it was gonna be 2 weeks from now. That's why I get it on the agenda for tonight.
So can we move to approve this?
Yeah, I don't see anybody here.
After you exit public hearing.
Yeah, after.
Excuse me.
If
You have
you're done with.
We have to
discussion.
make a motion to.
Well, we have to, make discussions on this in the public, right?
Yeah, in the public hearing, you have all the discussion.
Right.
Any other?
There's no other discussion. So we,
I make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
all right, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now can we move to approve this?
Correct. You're back into your meeting?
Dylan? Are you moving to approve
I
this?
make a motion to approve, the,
Eminent garage.
no, I know, but what are they called? The automobile
Oh.
graveyard.
Yes.
I motion that we approve this.
And a second? All right, any further discussion on this subject? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
How
We
transparent.
all have to sign this, or just me, or?
3 of you.
Okay. There happen to
All of
be
you.
3 of us.
All the 3 that are here.
Other business? Is there any other business? Hearing no other business.
Wait.
Sorry, we have, that's the
That's
next
next.
item on the
Okay,
agenda.
all right.
We need to approve warrant FY 27 number 4.
Yeah.
That is this, right?
Yeah.
So it says sign here, and next to the sign here, warrant. Next to be on here, yes. Sign here. All right, can we move to approve?
Number 4.
Number 4. So
I make a
second.
motion. Approve number 4.
All those in favor? All right, approved. Right. All right. Chair comment. I think I've said enough this evening, except to try and assure the visitors that we heard what you had to say, and I fundamentally think we are on the same team here.
Thank you.
And we were duly elected to be part of your representatives. And I will never mention another time anything beginning with W or B in your presence. I promise you.
A lot of people feel the same way.
Okay, any individual selectmen comments?
Thanks for sharing and, definitely heard what you were saying. And I agree that, 55 square miles sounded high just for me. So
I have no comment.
All right, can we then have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Do we have a second?
No. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Adjourn.
To hang out with you guys.
No, I think we ought to discuss further about